Alright, stay with me here, wrestling nerds. I'm going to be a sci-fi nerd for a second. Last week was the penultimate episode of the first season of Doctor Who on Disney+. And I'm going to talk about a huge spoiler. So I guess we need one of these. Or possibly, seeing as this is a wrestling show, one of these. Right, so after a whole season of playing with the mystery, we finally get to the huge payoff of the entire season. The big bad that the Doctor and Ruby Sunday have been circling around for weeks and weeks. Everything has been leading up to this. And the villain is revealed to be Sutek. A villain who hasn't been mentioned on the show in 60 years. Now look, I've been watching Doctor Who since I was 6 years old. I am what one would call a superfan. I mean, I have written Doctor Who comics, right? And even I was like, is that the bad guy from Pyramids of Mars? Russell T Davies, the showrunner, is a hell of a writer. So he gives a lot of context to make it clear what exactly is going on, who Sutek is, why he's important. He makes extra sure to have him be super terrifying. I mean, look, I put together who he was. I got it. And I was excited. I left the episode feeling psyched for part 2 of the finale. And then I looked over at my daughter. She's a Doctor Who superfan too, but she has no knowledge of the classic series, and therefore had no idea who this villain was at all, and felt completely lost. So I immediately started explaining who he was. Now imagine if it went a little bit more like this.
Oh my god! Is that Sutek? The Fourth Doctor banished him into the void of time, and he spent eons planning his vengeance! He is the god of death! He was held in the Pyramids of Mars by Horus! Oh my god! It can't be! It can't be!
Excuse my Jim Ross impression. Storytelling in wrestling has an amazing shortcut that is the literal envy of every other medium. Running commentary. You've got 2 or 3 guys with headsets telling the audience everything they need to know, what they're looking at, and more importantly, how to feel about it. In dramatic TV, you have essentially 2 methods to do the same thing: exposition and voiceover. Exposition could, in theory, do a lot of the same, but it requires a degree of artfulness that works against being direct a lot of the time. And voiceover, well, try selling a script with voiceover and you'll see why it's not much of an option anymore. In comic books, we have our own set of tools, primarily caption boxes, which do things like set locations and tell you when things are taking place and what Batman is thinking. But again, there's a degree of obscurity or lack of clarity, all for the sake of art, that has to be used, that keeps us from saying exactly what the hell is going on, and that can be a huge drag on us sometimes. And the thing is being clear actually leads to some pretty dramatic storytelling. Take, for example, this weekend on Clash at the Castle. Consequences down the road are going to be. Could the audience probably figure all that out by context clues? Yeah. Would they get all of it so clearly and concisely? Absolutely not. And frankly, that just fills me with envy. To just simply have the ability to shout at the top of my lungs, "Oh my god, the bad guy is doing that thing because of this, and therefore," whenever we need to, would really make the job a lot easier. What do you think about commentary in pro wrestling? Is it too on the nose, or do you think it's just right? Do you think it's something that we could use more of in narrative fiction? Tell me in the comments below. Check back later in the week for my top 5 commentators working today. Our first video got 2,000 views on TikTok. Thank you so much for watching. Let's see if we can get this one to do the same. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and share to help us grow. See you next time on Wrestling with Story.